Well, hey, guys.
Hey. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This will be our first official episode of Season 2 of Art Damaged. We're all still alive.
Electric Boogaloo.
And what do we discuss?
We discussed the legendary fantasy painter Frank Frazetta.
Yeah. And only Frank Frazetta.
No, we fucked up. There's a little blip in this episode because
we drink quite a bit.
Yeah. So we messed up. So we'll probably eventually do like a little side story thing about movie posters that he painted because that's the part we fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do that for an episode. Just do like a sweet movie poster illustration.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
I could curate that one because that's kind of my shtick is the pop culture shit.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about Frank Frazetta, and there's this wonderful new book out by J. David Spurlock that has a collection of Frank's paintings. Fantastic paintings of Frazetta. I think it's available on the Frazetta Museum website, and you can get it on Amazon too. That's where I got this one. It's a really good book because it's got like the book covers that he did next to the actual book. A lot of cool details about that. So yeah, check it out.
Scored the sweet Molly Hatchet record.
Oh yeah, one of many Frazetta.
We'll probably hang that up somewhere just to have a Frazetta painting hanging out in here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my favorite artists ever. I hope you guys enjoy this episode because it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for
talking
tuning in,
about
guys. Frazetta rules.
Enjoy.
Get your tambourine. Can we write a new intro song for this?
I mean, can you just cover this one?
We're season 2, so
All right, guys, we're back.
season 2.
How's it going, everybody? We're all still alive here.
We are.
Barely.
We're here at Renaissance Studios for Season 2 of Art Damaged.
Some of us are still alive.
We
Hopefully-
missed out on the opportunity of a new theme song of Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Just in memory of COVID. Just putting it out there.
Who knows? It looks like COVID might be here to stay for a while yet.
Yeah.
Things are still kind of
Yoinks.
a shit show out here.
I saw people talking about that online. They're all like, "Oh, it looks like we're starting phase 2 of COVID." And I was like, "How can you call it phase 2 when we never kicked it the first time?"
Yeah, it's just still here. I mean,
Like, it's like you drove around with a flat tire for 2 weeks and then was like, "Shit, it's still flat."
yeah. Or you put like that Fix-A-Flat in it for a while, just, that's like putting a mask on your face.
Yeah,
But eventually
exactly,
you're just
yeah.
going to get it anyway.
Now, New Zealand, they actually have 0 cases. So if they got it again, then they would be in phase 2.
They were smart and stopped doing everything.
Pretty
Didn't
much,
go
yeah.
to the beach and weren't like, this is against my liberty and rights, so I'm not wearing a mask.
Fuck yeah,
New Zealand sounds pretty chill.
It does.
You guys want to move to New Zealand?
I don't think they'll take us.
Yeah.
Especially
Why
now.
is it New Zealand and Australia are right next to each other, but Australia seems like it always wants to kill you, and New Zealand seems pretty chill. But they're like
Maybe it's like
the same
crazy animals.
They are.
Like it's like the habitat like a lot different in Australia than New Zealand, even
I
though
saw-
they're like super close.
I saw an amazing
Quite
video
possibly.
the other day while in quarantine. Dude jumped out of an airplane skydiving. He's skydiving down and everything. He's like landing nicely. It's like this big open field. He lands on the ground. The camera turns, and out
You hear
from,
big no.
You just hear
Let me guess. Kangaroo.
kangaroo duffs him in the face. he bounces, falls to the ground, and the kangaroo just takes off into the woods. I was just like,
Yeah, I saw that one. That's great.
so good.
That's up there with the little monkey on the mini bike that clearly he stole someone's mini bike and then tried to steal a child.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, these are the things that we did in quarantine. Just watch stupid.
YouTube videos on repeat.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the one where the guy punches a kangaroo in the face. Did you see that one?
No.
Yep.
I'll have
I've
to
seen
pull
that
that
one.
up sometime. It's pretty
Yeah.
hilarious.
We should just do an entire episode about our favorite stupid
Oh
YouTube.
my god, a reaction video.
Yeah.
Just pull up all the dumbest crap on YouTube.
Yeah, let's do a bonus episode of that.
Isn't that what we already do with the art critiques, but it's just art?
Yeah,
It's just
but
really weird medieval art.
we'll just take it to a different place.
Yeah.
A weird.
All the kids are doing it. Reaction videos, your mom's house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bam, you can start curating a TikTok feed for us, and then we could explore that.
We could get tick-tarted up in here.
America's Funniest Home
TikToks.
Videos. We can get Bob Saget on here.
Oh my god.
Did you ever
I mean,
hear
that's
him tell-
basically all
You got
that is
50
now.
bucks?
Now that you say that, like
You got 50
that's-
bucks, yeah.
We're living in a like episode of America's Funniest Home Videos right now.
Just life in general, pretty much.
Did you ever hear Bob Saget talk about the videos that never made it on air
Yes.
that people would send? And there was one where a dude just fell off a ladder and it was just him like, for like 10 minutes.
And it went on for like
Got
10 minutes.
seriously injured. And
Yeah. And
there's a
nobody,
laugh track in the background.
nobody's around. And so they tried to show it to Bob to be like, what could you do with this? And he watched all 10 minutes of it and was like, nothing. There is nothing to do with this.
I mean, to be fair, Tosh Point Noah could have probably thrown in as many jokes as he could while that guy was going, ow, ow.
Yeah,
Probably.
He would have done a good job of that.
Pretty sure he died at the end, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
But who sent in the video?
Rip in peace.
The homeless guy wandering
Dip
by.
and rip in peace.
But anyway, yeah, we're back.
Hey, we're not
Yeah.
dead.
Let's go through and plug our social media once more. I'm Josh Ruff at joshruff.com and all the things. And we are here at Renaissance Studios again at RS Tattoo NY on Instagram.
Hi, I'm Reggie Cuvelier. You can find me at Reggie Inks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for booking and commission information, I have a new email set up, reggieinks@gmail.com.
Tight.
I'm Christina Maslar. You can find me at Christina_Maslar on Instagram. And I think Christina Maslar on anything else, or just Google me because I don't know how to find myself.
I'm Bam Maslar. You can find me on Instagram at Bam_Maslar. And I just launched my new website, BamBurnsThings.com.
Tight.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
so
a good
Bam
.com
Burns
name.
Things.
BamBurnsThings.com. So that's live
Cool.
now.
Awesome.
Right on.
And once again, we are brought to you by the North Brewery, which word on the street is they will be reopening sometime near the end of July, maybe?
Soon?
Tentatively.
Soon? Tentatively. Not an exact date
At
yet,
a future
but
date, sometime between now and the end of the year.
yeah, we got quite an assortment from them tonight. They still have a to-go window open right now if you're looking for beer.
Beers.
Definitely check that place out.
Beers.
But anyway, today we are here to talk about one of my personal favorites of all time. Today we're talking about Frank Frazetta.
Frank Frazetta.
Oh, not
man
COVID.
himself.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get off that topic for a little while. Hopefully by the time this airs, this won't be much of a topic.
Oh, this is a real episode?
Yeah, we're going to try anyway.
It's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, Frank's one of my favorite artists, and I think he's like any modern artist favorite artist to some degree, you know, just because he was like one of the godfathers of like fantasy art in general and just commercial illustration in general too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was born in February 9th, 1928 in Brooklyn, New York. Kind of a child prodigy, this guy.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a formal education in the arts, except for like his middle to high school years, kind of like his secondary
Well,
education.
no, he did go to the Brooklyn Academy of Arts when he was 8 and did do some stuff there,
Oh, okay.
studied, but like according to his Wikipedia page, he didn't really gain much from that. It
I
was-
didn't realize he started as early when he was 8. I thought it was more like...
Yeah, when he was really young, he went to the Brooklyn Academy of Fine Arts. I believe that's what it was.
But it closed by the time he was about 16, so he
Yeah.
didn't really pursue...
Is it a pizzeria now? It's probably
Quite possibly, it could be.
fit all those kids.
I mean, what else is in Brooklyn?
Pizza.
Short
Pizza
shorts.
Rat.
pizza.
Right, short shorts, beards, and pizza.
But yeah, I mean, he did have some early art education. Yeah, he was just naturally gifted from a young age. But I think after that, he actually pursued professional sports for a while. Like, he wanted to... he almost got drafted to play professional baseball into the minor leagues, as it were.
Yeah, kind of like in between playing sports, he was doing odd jobs for the comic book industry at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had him and a whole crew of buddies were all taking on kind of odds and ends sort of jobs within comics.
Yeah.
Like in between, basically going out all day, playing stickball with each other, realizing you got deadlines to meet the next day, so you hang out all the...
Stickball.
Yeah, can you help me ink this? Oh, God, can you do that background real quick?
Do you know
I
what?
got deadlines to hit.
Do you know what teams he was playing for?
I don't know what minor league team... Well, he was almost drafted. Like, he
Oh, okay.
decided
He
not
got-
to do it for some reason. I don't know. There's a documentary that we sourced a lot of this info from, Painting with Fire. 2003, I think, when that doc was made.
I did not watch it, so I know nothing.
Well, we'll fill you in.
That's fine.
It's
Cool.
a good watch. Good watch for
Good
sure.
learning experience.
And Comic Book Girl 19 also had a really good one that kind of touched on. I feel like she was talking about his sports career a little bit more. Because
Yeah.
He definitely, he got a few offers to go to like major leagues, but he was.
I
kind
think
of on
she
the
was
fence
just getting a
about it.
lady boner over Frank Frazetta.
Kind of
though.
was. She kind of was. I think that's why she was talking about the sports. Like, he had such a good body, even at an older age. I mean,
Yeah, he was a very athletic person. But he never got drafted. Like, he almost did, but then decided not to pursue it for some reason. But then this guy, John Guinta, gave him his first illustration jobs illustrating comics when he was 16.
mm-hmm.
And I think some of that is on his
pretty sweet
Wikipedia
break.
page here.
16 years
Yeah,
old.
he kind of got thrown right into the comic book industry.
Yeah,
when he
that's
was
what I mean.
16.
Like, him and a
In 1944.
who
Good
had,
year.
Who had, quote, always had this urge to be doing comic books
Yeah.
at 16.
I feel like that's a very Brooklyn thing to do. It's like, how old are you? You're 8? Full-time job?
yeah.
How much you bringing in?
Are you a truck driver or
We better get to work because we got rent to pay here.
how much you bringing home a week?
But yeah, he did worked on a lot of comics.
EC Comics was the main horror publisher at the time that actually predominantly owned like the Tales from the Crypt is what we all know it now.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
Nice.
he was doing a lot of stuff.
I have
with
some
that.
old reprints of those, like the old
Nice.
Tales from the
Nice.
Crypt.
Yeah.
Yeah, got them at a fucking yard sale at my neighbor's house. Believe it or not.
Everyone loves a good yard sale.
Yeah. But yeah, he
Yeah,
did a
Buck
lot of
Rogers
comic
and
work.
stuff. Al Cap. Yeah, Al Cap. That was his bit. Yeah, that was one of his big signing points because Al Cap was relatively famous for the time. So for him to hire like a shadow artist underneath him, kind of an unknown guy.
Yeah, I assume he learned a lot just about drawing in general from that
just
comic book environment where you just gotta just pump out work
Mhm.
constantly. And you can definitely see that in his paintings, which we'll get to. But yeah, he did that for quite a few years here.
Basically until the industry bottomed out and he couldn't really get any work because
Yeah, what's that thing you were talking about the other day?
the Seduction of the Innocent was when
Yeah, it sounds so creepy.
yeah, I know that real tongue in cheek. It was all about how the comics were infecting the minds of the youth, and it basically gutted the industry at the time. So a lot of guys had to shift gears and start looking for other work, which kind of went to a very short-lived lull for him. But then he started to get more high-end, actual like painted illustration work. He got a job. If you want to pull that Ringo, he did a Ringo Starr caricature for Mad Magazine.
This one right here.
Yeah. May not seem super sophisticated, but that was a
Pretty
big turning.
bitchin', like kind
Yeah.
of character of Ringo Starr, you
The
know?
color, that washed
Is
out
that-
color is a little weird, but if you find a more vibrant,
It's probably
one, you
just a
can see,
shitty photo
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I had a hard time finding a photo of this one that
like the
wasn't
blues and the
dog shit.
greens in his hair were a lot more vibrant and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Is that a caricature or is that an accurate representation of what
I
Ringo
mean,
looks like?
you could go either way on that one.
so that was the start of his painting career. That was this being noticed got the attention of a lot of agents in Hollywood. So from there, he started to get pitched the idea of doing a lot of movie posters.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff like that.
Now,
so let's look at one
This
of
was
those.
actually this was one of his oil paintings too, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was.
Yeah. And
I mean, I
mind you,
think that's
he-
predominantly what he worked in.
Yeah, yeah.
When he got to this
He
point
had
in his career.
I think some of those movie posters were done in watercolors, but by this time he was leaning pretty heavy. Yeah, he taught himself kind of how to paint like in between all of his comic book jobs. Like, and that's why his oils sort of look the way they do, because he came from a perspective of like treating it like watercolor and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you can see some like nice washes and before he gets really impasto.
I mean, you can definitely see in the way he approaches paintings too that he's just a very economical painter. You know, like just knowing what to do and where, and not trying to take it too far. Just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
This is where like he kind of started this more or less, like book cover illustration. He was the godfather of this thing.
Yeah.
The whole like modern fantasy art thing, like a lot of the commissions that you get are from book cover illustration for the most part. So I mean, Frazetta is everybody's hero.
Yeah.
Like that does that, you know, because like he got to a point where his paintings were so fucking good that they would write books around his paintings.
Yeah, the publishers would just ask him if they had any overflow, and then hire out an author to actually dictate a story around whatever he had hanging out.
Yeah, it says right here his covers were used for paperback editions of Edgar Rice Burroughs books such as Tarzan and Barsoom, which is John Carter of Mars. This one right here, which I like that movie that they made. You know,
That's a cool movie.
about a decade ago. It's not bad. Wasn't received very well though. But yeah, let's go to this right here.
So yeah, movie posters led into the book covers, and the book covers was when his career started to skyrocket. Was it his re-illustration of Conan #1 was kind of like what just launched it, because all of a sudden Conan was selling like millions and millions.
We should probably
of
look at
copies
that
again.
one first. But let's just talk about this real quick, because this is one of his paintings that led to a whole fucking spin-off of this. This is probably one of his most notable images. This is the Death Dealer. And this fucking badass dude that just obviously is there to fuck people up. But, like,
How big are these paintings?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't think they were too huge. I think
guess-
they were more like around 18 by 24, 16 by 20. Like, they're not
Okay.
that big.
I was gonna guess like an 11-14 sort of window, you
Okay.
know, because if softcover reproduction's only gonna be like yay big. So if you
Yeah, I
do
mean, I don't think he
2 to
did
3
anything
times.
like super huge. Like,
Yeah.
it was mainly like stuff that
Just
he
your
had to get
normal
done for
size.
deadlines, you know, so he didn't try and like bite off more than he
Do
could
a
chew with a
mural.
giant painting or something.
Just looking at it, you can tell where Brahm gets his influence from.
Oh yeah, for
How
sure.
he outlined
Frazetta is
stuff.
definitely like one of the key influences of any fantasy illustrator.
Yeah,
out
in that
today.
doc we mentioned,
Donato.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we were saying about how economical of a painter he is. I mean, just look at all these very loose brushstrokes here, but then again, everything here is just like super tight and looks
yeah,
so
and it
fucking
adds
nice.
a good amount of contrast because the
Yeah.
loose strokes define the cloud and the smoke and the fire so well. Well, you have such perfectly rendered armor,
Yeah.
like right next to it, and like the gradation on the shield. You know what I mean? How you get that nice top-down highlight and it gradually,
Yeah.
like, fuck it, right on.
Yeah, go for it.
Cigarette and a beer time.
But yeah, like I mean, you can tell like a lot of the stuff in the background here is maybe not even paint. Like it's just like very thin,
Yeah.
like layers of anything. Like even maybe just the ground of the canvas. Like all this stuff, you can kind of see the transparencies of it.
Editor
And
reproduction.
then there's like a little more opaque here as he builds up this part, you know. But like all this is definitely just like scribbling.
editor reproduction of this for my final in painting 2 at BCC.
Nice.
Nice.
I'd like to see that.
I think I gave it to my wife's dad because he was like, "Oh shit, Molly Hatchet."
Yeah, that's right. That's another thing that he did do was like cover art for
Yeah,
Molly
a
Hatchet.
lot
Did
of
few
bands
those.
wanted to reuse a lot of his artwork for album covers, and he totally gave them their graces.
Oh yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 Molly Hatchet albums that are.
Yeah,
this.
I think I
so,
got
Wolf
one-
Mother too have like the Siren in the Sea or whatever
So
that one's.
can you get it back so we can?
I don't know
we
where it
can see
is. I don't know where it is.
Text them. Now.
Hey, you know that thing I gave you like 6 years ago? Give
Remember
it
that
back.
Can I
sweet
have that?
Molly Hatchet cover I painted for you?
All right, well, here's another Death Dealer one. This
yeah.
one's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the comic they did, they just reproduced the paintings as the issue covers and had a different artist kind of like go in and invent their own story.
Right.
Just kind of based
But
around.
it's all built around the
Yeah,
character
the
in this
lore and the
painting that he
mythos.
just painted for fun. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
It wasn't
The-
for any particular commission.
I
Yeah,
just
all of these paintings have just generated such a lore around them, you know?
Yeah.
See, what I love is just the movement and the emotion.
Oh, yeah, it's
every
fucking-
single character has.
Yeah. Like there's weight to that fucking axe. That's about
Exactly.
to plunge
Yeah,
into
that's
his fucking
about
head.
to come back in the other direction. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like you see the strain in the muscles, and it's just like,
just a little less, and he just drop it and hit
Yeah.
himself with it. Like you can just see the weight.
Man, I love his color choices though in any of his paintings because it's very limited palettes and stuff. But like even like this red highlight on the face here, it's like where is that coming from? But it doesn't fucking matter because it's awesome.
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
so
But it
good.
works perfect.
it's at first glance you think they're a lot more neutralized when they are, and then you find these hits of more saturated color. Just like, why has he got blue in his butt? You know, like
That might
like
just be
sad.
like this image too that's on the internet. We're not getting an accurate representation of this painting. It might be a little
That one,
cooler or
it-
warmer.
so-
in
it
does
person,
seem a little
you
more
know?
So
saturated
guys,
because the
you know what
orange.
that means, right?
What's that?
Frazetta Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that
Road
later
trip.
because we are going to go down there. It's not that far from us. We will definitely check that out at some point. But there is news with that.
Woot woot.
Woot. Woot.
All right.
Oh
this
yeah,
is,
the movie Conan was predominantly based off his artwork, as opposed to any of the actual Conan novels. They were more lifting up from scenes like this. to
well, it was a
incorporate-
combination of
yeah.
Robert E. Howard's book Conan and his artwork, right? Like he pretty much defined what that looked like in
Yeah,
his
yeah.
paintings. You know, if you're reading it in a novel, you can kind of imagine it, but like Frazetta's artwork definitely defined that fucking book. And I think this was part of the concept art for it, maybe. But this painting is called Egyptian Queen, I think is the name of it. But this actually sold after his death for $5.4 million, which is crazy.
Oh, that was the Heritage Auction House. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was handled by a company that predominantly does vintage comics and stuff.
I mean,
like that.
good
Yeah,
for
so
him, but that's sad that it was after.
Well,
Well,
when else do paintings by any living artist sell for that much?
But the debates-
Unless you're a complete asshole.
Fake your own death.
Yeah.
which is he had
Yeah,
a-
but this is without gimmick like Jeff Koons
Yeah.
or any of those, modern art people. Like this is just
Banana
pure
Gate.
fucking-
Ugh.
yeah, shit like
Sweet.
that. But yeah, this sold forget what year it was. It's on his Wikipedia. Check it out.
Ooh, another
Ooh.
one. Sweet.
Completely different color.
I was about to
palette.
say.
Yeah.
I like that one because it's completely opposite of what I've seen from him.
Yeah.
It also wants me to take polar bears and put them on the front of a sleigh
Yeah,
and see
dude.
what happens.
I mean, who would fuck with this guy?
But it also looks like Matt Bergman's new puppy that you just got at the same time.
Yeah, this is awesome. Another, I'm willing to bet that most of this canvas is tinted like this blue color.
Yeah. And then he.
I mean,
The
most of
weapon
the reason that
I don't
his
know, 'cause
painting
if you-
seems so economical is because he did a lot of these paintings in a single night. His
Yeah.
best
What?
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of his paintings were because he was such a family man. He always got so sidetracked just hanging out and playing with his kids that all of a sudden they'd be like, "Up, we heard the coffee
Yeah,
pot on."
he's
and
crunching deadlines. Like the
classical
night
music
before the
came on at
deadline.
like 8 o'clock at night, and Dad's got a pot of coffee on. We might
Yeah.
want to leave him alone.
Well,
this
yeah.
is one and done.
Most of his
Well,
work.
most of his best works were one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Like just some shit he painted overnight, which is probably why some of them look very like economically painted. Just efficiently
Dude,
done.
I feel like the worst person right now.
They said they would wake up and he'd be sitting there with a hairdryer trying to get it, and then like,
Yeah.
he's like, I gotta mail it.
Yeah,
I
but-
got a lot in common with
in
him.
that documentary, Painting with Fire, they also say that like he would just be on the couch for like 2 days after because he expelled so much energy just trying to get this out and done.
Be so stressed
Which
out.
is crazy,
Like,
man. Can you imagine that? Like just fucking crushing a painting for like 2 days nonstop. Like your focus is just zeroed in on this shit, and that's it.
I forgot to eat.
Yeah, I forgot to do anything with my life. I
forgot
haven't
to take a-
showered in days.
I forgot to take a shit.
I don't know. If you look at the
72.
painting, it has like a purple hue to it. So I think he might have done it in like the reddish color as a base coat and then
Oh
gone
yeah,
over
and
it
then
in
painted
blue.
over top of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite possible. But yeah, like a lot of this stuff down here is transparencies. It looks like it's like he just knows where to put it and when.
So
you know, like
And when it's
it
appropriate.
even looks
to
like
be
there's kind of
transparent.
pencil marks right here, so you can kind of see through that a little bit.
And
you
when
know?
it's appropriate to leave it transparent.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, you see like there's so many different colors in the front of that like vehicle or the sled thing.
yeah.
There's a couple of blues and purples and a little bit of that yellowish green. It's great about that.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. 1972. He didn't start really oil painting until he got to his 30s, because that's when all this like book cover artwork took off.
Do you think there's a correlation between Sweet Van Wizard paintings and Frank Frazetta paintings? Like people saw
Oh, yeah,
Frank
for
Frazetta
sure,
was
for
like,
sure.
I want this on
Absolutely.
my
For sure, yeah.
van.
Absolutely.
All
I think
those-
when people learned how to work an airbrush, it was like, how do I make Frank?
Yeah, exactly.
on my minivan.
Yeah.
Oh, he was easily one of the most influential artists of that period, because of like this was a Molly Hatchet cover, I believe.
Yeah.
Like this
That's
one
one of
here
my
called
favorites of
I
his.
think it's called Dark Kingdom. this one
Speaking of that, we should totally get a minivan for our podcast
and just fucking paint it with some sick airbrush.
yeah,
Some dragons and shit, bro.
yeah. Total fanboy. Go down to the Frazetta Museum.
Yeah, this is fucking
Yeah,
great,
sweet.
though. I think this one is actually at the Frazetta Museum right now.
It's almost, you look at like the time period and stuff, and it's like you thank God they invented Dungeons and Dragons like 5 or 6 years later, because it's like you're planting the seed, and then all these guys are at home being like, I gotta fucking paint dragons, dude. And they're like, how do I get a job painting dragons?
What do we do with this?
And then
now?
Gary Gygax is like, would you like to paint some dragons for me?
And then they made that terrible movie with Tom Hanks.
The PSA about turning children into Satanists through Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and that doc, it's like a heavy hitter. It's like a who's who of like fantasy painters, just being like, "Holy crap, Frank Frazetta!"
Yeah.
like
well,
Simon
he's
Bisley
everybody's
and-
icon for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. All right, this is a personal favorite of mine because my dad had a print of this that he got from one of his drinking buddies before I was even born. So there's a print of this at my house still to this day. This is Kane on the Golden
Dude,
Sea.
look at his anatomy. Look how articulated that arm is, man.
Yeah, dude. Like all the details. And
There are muscles there that I didn't even know existed.
Not for us, at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the gym bros that are there like 6 days a week, you know, when gyms were a
I got a
thing
couple of
before
those.
the dark days.
I got a couple of those.
Yeah, no, you don't.
People that don't have the muscles, they're forced to wear the death mask.
Dude, look at the rim lighting. How he used a cooler light on the back end of.
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
cool.
nice.
Highlight that purple tone
That's
in there.
cool. Oh, I didn't notice. There's a few fucking. This one's new to me. I don't feel like I never saw this one.
I think this was one of the ones that he just painted and they wrote a book based around it.
Yeah.
That's how popular his shit was, you know?
He's just like, I just
Oh, look
whipped
at this
thing
painting
up.
from Frank. Let's write a book.
Basically.
Yeah, but like this one was like a huge influence on me when I was a kid just because it was in my house and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that's fucking pretty dope. Like I would love to do that someday, you know, if I could ever paint.
But how amazing is that to paint something that's so epic and so storytelling that somebody can then write a novel about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's how popular his work was.
That's what I'm saying. As opposed to the
like
opposite.
the 60s
Yeah,
and
yeah.
70s. Like,
As opposed to the opposite, where they'll hire some random dude to just illustrate, like, and he'll fret over it for 7 months until he comes up with like one little concept for the cover.
Like a lot of
He
the.
had, like a clause that was like, if it's a really shitty story, you can't use my painting.
You can't claim it's after this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the artists that they were interviewing for that Fire and Ice were talking about just like going and buying the book, being like borderline teenagers at the time, you know, buy the book, rip the cover off, staple the fucking cover up to the wall. So, you know, like you're probably selling tons of copies if people are collecting them just for the covers. So it's awesome.
Let's see what else we got here. All right, this is one of the Conan series, but what's great about this painting is this was not the final version that he used. He did this whole painting. And then he was like, you know what? There's something I don't like about it, so I'm going to completely repaint it.
Not good enough.
And then he got this one.
Bam.
Just fucking so much better. Like
So much more
The
emotion.
other one was fucking awesome, don't get me wrong. But this is like insane.
Click back to the other one really quick. I remember him saying that they like the publisher was kind of pushy about trying to get that arm pose like that.
Right.
Because like the first Conan he did when he was holding a sword, you know what I mean? The two hands over the hilt. So they're like, oh, try to get him in that pose again. Try to get him in that pose.
Yeah, I mean,
And then it just
compared to the other one, there's
Yeah.
so much action in the other one because if like you just look at his face, it just looks like,
It looks like he's bored about it.
Yeah.
it's like I'm
he's
choking
like-
this dude out, and this is just a normal day at the office for me.
And then
This
you got
one's just so much
hammer
more epic,
smash
like-
face.
Like I said, so much more emotion.
Look at his
Just-
fucking face.
Yeah.
Just like I'm gonna fucking wreck you, dude, and
it's-
all these dudes
and
right
it's,
behind
it's
you.
weird because there's not even like it's such a simple face. I don't mean that in a negative way. There's not so much like there's not a ton of anger there or anything, but it's
He's
forceful.
determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, you can see like this looks like burnt umber
Yeah.
underpainting in the
Uh-huh.
background, like it's barely built up, and it like even this stuff doesn't look like it's that thick of paint. Like he just knows. where
Yeah,
to
I was
put
just
it.
looking at like that axe hanging out in the background with the
Yeah.
the sienna behind it. You know, the thickness, the quality of paint doesn't seem that much different. But
Yeah, this is fucking rad.
Is there writing in the bottom corner of this one?
I think
Oh.
that might just be the
Ooh.
image. I don't think that's painted on there.
I don't know. It almost looks
I would
like
say it's
it's.
definitely not.
Yeah, great eye for that like point of maximum drama. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because he's like full cocked.
Yeah, he's capturing like the most important moment in this scene, you know? Like right where the action is.
Which is amazing for the 70s because you just don't have visual reference at hand.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can't
for
go
sure.
ahead.
You just Google
you
some
sit
shit.
there with
He had
your
a
phone
fraction
and
of the
like,
tools that we have now, but I think his history, like with comic
Pose
book
for me.
illustration,
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
helped a lot, you know?
Can't just pick up your phone and be like,
Like-
here, pose for me.
I think he was leaned into the Bridgman's anatomy philosophy a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he read those books a bunch because I remember clicking on his .com way back when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, if that's the book he read, I got to go buy Bridgman's and draw every page of that now.
But look at the cast
did.
light
Oh,
and shadow on that butt. And that bottom right.
Dead ass.
That
Oh, the
That
naked.
ass, this one.
Yeah, that is a dramatic butt. Look at the cast.
Why does everyone have pants on
Let's
but
get
him?
in there. Look at that.
No,
Look at that
dude,
nice-
he
Oh,
doesn't
that
have
guy
pants.
doesn't either.
He's naked. He's naked.
I
He's
mean,
naked.
I feel like that's the best way to like go into war.
Well, if you have to scare off Conan,
Yeah,
would you
that's
be
what I
like,
mean.
all right, dude?
You might as
I'm-
well just die.
Helicopter.
I'm no. I'm stripping down and I'm going total naked crazy man windmill. Just
I want to suck
Nice Clerks reference there. I like that one. Here's another one from the Conan series.
Yeah.
This was actually made it into the movie there. Conan the Destroyer, the second one, which Bam has yet to see.
I miss out on a lot of good things in life.
Conan was with Schwarzenegger, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Where's the rest of them? I feel like I pulled up a lot more of these.
I think we just had.
We get to see Schwarzenegger do a battle scene with stop motion skeletons. It's great.
It's pretty
Yeah.
dope.
Why have we not watched this recently?
Because I think it's on VHS and like Betamax.
Yeah, and
It's on like streaming now, but you got to have like certain channels to get it and shit like that.
let's get those channels. I want to watch this
Red
shit.
Sonja was supposed to be a sequel, but they didn't want to give up. Two companies didn't want to cooperate and have Red Sonja and Conan be actually under the same umbrella.
Well, dude, in that movie, like fucking Schwarzenegger plays like the same fucking character
Yeah.
that he does in the
He's
Conan movies. He's just got a different name. But
Uh-huh.
it's the same character. Like,
Yeah, he was
Dude,
supposed to appear as Conan.
I'm about to go hit up the antique shop, get a couple of TVs, get a couple of VCRs.
I got a tube TV in my basement. We just find a VCR.
All right, let's do this.
I would totally buy a copy of Conan the
most of you
Barbarian
guys
for $1.
living in the 80s.
Let's do this.
He missed the 80s. We got to watch RoboCop. We got to watch Conan.
Now, was
I
Conan
s-
a long enough movie to have a double VHS set? One of those.
I
fat
missed the
ass
No, it's
80s.
definitely not
I
that
saw a
long.
year. I saw a year and a half of the 80s. Thank you. 88 and a half.
Oh, we should probably talk about Fire and Ice too, right?
Yeah, didn't we have that cover pulled up?
Well, we got the Wikipedia page right here. This was,
Ralph Bakshi.
this is when he started getting into movies and stuff. His friend Ralph Bakshi basically, what else did that guy direct? He directed
He did
something else.
Fritz the Cat.
Cool World was
Cool
another
World.
one.
That was
Yeah, another
actually one of
animated
his
movie.
late movies.
Yeah.
I think he did. I don't know if it was him specifically, but a lot of the techniques they discovered from the same stuff they did in the Lord of the Rings, like the rotoscoping soldiers and whatnot. When they're doing like the Wraith army instead of like the actual hobbits.
Yeah,
They were
but
like-
this was all built around Frazetta's artwork,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. Like there's a death dealer type character in there, and a lot of barbarians and stuff, and wizards.
What
and-
was the plot? Ice Queen goes after girlfriends.
Yeah,
Wait.
more or less. Yeah,
Crew
Is
of
this
barbarian.
Kung Fury?
I mean, kind of. Yeah, But, like this is a fucking pretty awesome animated movie, especially if you're into Frazetta's artwork, because it like he actually did some kind of primitive motion capture stuff for this, like actually like ran and stuff.
Yeah,
and
ran
then-
around on
yeah,
set with them.
Yeah.
And,
Explain to me like rotoscoping again.
Rotoscoping is the technique where you actually draw over the filmed footage. So if you were to film somebody running down, you would then overlay your transparent, like your layers on top, and that's like why the line art and the gestures look more, or the overall proportion is retained, and then the characters look more realistic and sophisticated. I think Yeah, Disney picked that up sometime around The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
And I think they actually hired an actress to
Well,
be
there's a lot
Ariel.
of older stuff
Yeah,
that used
there
the
was a
same
lot
technology
of
too, right?
The original, I think, Alice in Wonderland, they started doing that for.
That's what I
Did they?
thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember hearing a fact that they actually hired an actress for Little Mermaid. I wasn't sure if that was the
Yeah,
first
they did
one.
the same thing for Alice in Wonderland.
Cool,
They
cool.
did
So maybe it was a
something
technique
like
they
that.
used for a long time.
I'm sure it evolved from its inception too.
And in that case, they filmed the actors and the stuntmen running around, and then hired background painters to make the fantasy context.
Yeah,
of the
like I remember
scenes.
in the Fire and Ice doc, they were talking about an actual scene where Frank was running, and they just like the actor that they were trying to motion cap was just not doing it the way he wanted them to, so he just did it. It's pretty gangster.
He was like
Not
50
good
at the
enough.
time.
So it's rotoscoping. Basically, they like adapted cell animation to it, like old.
But over the top of the paint, over the top of the actual film, right?
Yeah, they don't air the same at the same time. It'd be like tracing out the gestures from like a filmed sequence and using that directly in the animation. So you kind of sub out the photography in like the last part, you know?
Nice.
So that's the same technique they use for movies like A Scanner Darkly. You remember that?
Yeah, but I think they kind of whatever computer filters they did for that one, because that one more looked like a
It's more streamlined with that because it's newer,
like a
obviously.
Photoshop cell painting as
Yeah.
opposed to a traditional.
I kind of saw that one.
They did.
That was a weird one.
I was really drunk.
Series with Bob Odenkirk that's like that too.
Oh yeah, the Amazon one. I forget the name of it, but it would look pretty
Yeah,
cool.
his daughter gets into a car accident. She could like time travel.
Yeah, more or less. Trippy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seems neat.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out though. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. For anybody that wants to check this movie out, it's a good one.
So yeah, overall, Frank had a relatively normal life. I mean, it was pretty gangster to break into the comic book industry before you could fucking drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
Like,
It's also a good note would be James
Gurney.
Gurney was the background painter on most of this movie, which is fucking
Nice.
dope. James Gurney's a hell of an artist.
So
you
any
guys said he taught himself how to paint after his stroke with his other hand too, right?
yeah, sometime
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
we'll get to that.
2000s. Oh, do you want to lay down that one? Ooh.
I was gonna
Ooh.
ask
Stuff.
any weird controversy or any weird.
That happened later on in life.
Yeah, later on in life. So
Okay.
we might as well get to that then.
Because that's the fun, down and dirty stuff.
His life was, like I was saying, his life was relatively clean. He was a clean-cut guy. He moved from the city to mid-state PA. Took his family out there. I think he had 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter.
Stroudsburg.
Yeah.
Strasbourg, East.
Yeah,
area.
that's where the Frazetta Museum is now.
So there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't much stuff that really surrounded his life. He was treated well by most of his like agents and all the editors and stuff. Nobody really tried. He got all of his artwork back. That's in his museum. You know, a lot of times
that was a big thing that they talked about in the documentary. Is like he was the first person to actually sell the rights to use the image, not the painting itself.
because a lot of times back in the day they would.
So he kept all the originals, but just leased the rights to people to use it for book
Nice.
covers and stuff like that.
That's
and
the way to
that
do it.
previously had not been done.
Yeah.
So everyone else would just be like, "Here's $100. Here's
Yeah.
the painting.
Yeah, and then-
you own it
yeah,
now."
and you'd get
type thing.
And then the
so bad.
publisher would turn around and they'd
Make
be
$1
the
million.
ones to be able to like auction it off. You
Yeah.
know.
they'd buy it for 100 and sell it for $1 million
Yeah.
type thing. Okay.
Which yeah. So since he got his originals back, he opened up the museum with it. But the main controversy that sort of happened during his life was after his wife passed away.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's
Oh,
talk
okay.
about like the stroke and all that stuff. Like when he
yeah,
was
yeah.
54, he had thyroid issues that remained undetected for like 8 years or so. So he was just in constant pain all the time and couldn't paint or do anything like that. They put him in a mental hospital at one point because the doctor didn't believe that he was sick and like stuff like that. They thought it was all in his head until he had like multiple strokes in like the mid to late 90s. And that resulted in like depression and stuff just because he couldn't paint. Like, you know, his body's all fucked up. He can't use his normal painting hand and stuff like that. So what he ended up doing was one night he just like he had this painting that he did for his wife. I don't know exactly which one it is, but it's one of like the Maasai warrior things that he painted or something like that. Some African tribal warrior. And like he just didn't he never liked the face on it. They talk about this in Painting with Fire. Like and one night after he had a stroke and he couldn't paint with his right hand anymore, he just decided to repaint the face one night with his opposite hand. So instead of like just giving up on painting, he just taught himself how to paint with his weak hand, basically, so he could keep painting.
And it's good that works, because could you imagine being his wife and being like, "It looks great, honey," and it's just like,
yeah, but like the painting, they show it in the documentary, and it looks really fucking good.
That's a fucking baller.
That is.
You're like,
That's way more determination than anyone I know.
Whatever that hand.
Most people just
I guess
give
I'm using
up.
this one now.
I guess I got to jerk it with this one.
but with paint.
But yeah, like he switched hands basically, and he did that for the rest of his life painting. But yeah, eventually, that leads into the controversy with his family there and his son.
Yeah.
Frank Frazetta Jr., I think.
Sometime after the death of his
JR.
wife, and the family started to get into disputes over all of his artwork.
Yeah.
His son.
Oh god, this is some crazy shit though.
December
2000.
2009.
Basically, his wife died in 2009 after a year-long battle with cancer. And he hired a couple people to handle his business affairs. But shortly after that, his eldest son, Frank Jr., was arrested on charges of stealing $20 million in paintings from the family museum in a fight over the fortune. According to the police report, Frank Frazetta Jr., with the help of two men, broke through the museum door using a backhoe and stole 90 paintings from the museum. And according to the affidavit, Frank Jr. told the responding trooper he had permission from the owner. Basically, his dad's permission to break down the fucking museum door with a backhoe and
Is it
take
bad
90 paintings out of
I
it.
imagine him wearing like a Keystone Light box on his head and his underwear with like a cardboard sword.
Well, shit,
on a
this is in
backhoe, like,
Pennsylvania. Anything could happen there.
I mean,
you know?
anytime I've left some stuff in my parents' house, my dad's totally cool when I break down the back door and just take it with me.
I think they eventually settled their disputes, though, because I know there was some other disputed stuff, like those articles I sent you guys a while ago. There was like a military statue that they had of the death dealer, and that was another lawsuit that Frank was involved in, Frank Sr., the guy we're talking about.
Yeah.
But, like, he didn't want that image portrayed, like, by the military as, like, a negative means or anything like that, you know? But, like, I think they're still up, the statues are, because eventually I think they squashed all that stuff, and, like, the family just brought it together. And now the museum's open.
And I think a lot of that controversy started after the wife passed away, because she was kind of the bookkeeper. And she was the one.
Yeah.
She was smart enough to start her own like poster printing stuff. She used all of his artwork to get, so they kind of were making a lot of their own prints and posters based off of stuff.
Well, yeah, they got so much awesome shit going on right now to preserve his legacy, like that the museum in
Frazetta
East
Girls,
Stroudsburg,
too.
PA. Frazetta Girls, they sell a lot of merchandise and prints and stuff.
Predominantly
of
is
all
run by his
paintings.
granddaughters, the
Yeah,
Frazetta
yeah.
girls.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's so rad.
One neat thing I've noticed about him is that he was kind of a photography nerd, but didn't really ever photo for his work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
He
from what I
loved-
remember in that doc, he just always had a camera with
Yeah,
him.
he
and just
loved
always take
collecting.
pictures.
He loved ripping apart. He loved building cameras, but would never set up shoots for references for his paintings. You know,
Right. It was just all from imagination most
Yeah.
of the time. Just like
when he'd go.
that's where I assume the comics come in handy because, like, obviously he had the knowledge of anatomy from drawing that so much.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, just studying it, and like it just fed into his painting so much. Like that's why he was so efficient because
Yeah.
he's so used to meeting deadlines like that. You know, it's so cool.
Our friend Shane was working for him when he was, I think, a teenager. At his, he had a costume shop
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
in Stroudsburg,
Mhm.
and upstairs was his office. And that's one of my memories as a kid. I went there. I didn't know it was his place. I started wandering upstairs and saw all the posters, and I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be up here. And wandered back down. But our friend Shane worked for him doing that for a while, and then he hired Shane to do like videography stuff, to do like family movies and stuff before he passed away.
Yeah. So some of the last movies that were ever done of Frank with his kids and stuff are shot by a friend of ours, Shane.
It's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get down there sometime and check that place out,
Definitely.
even just to buy merch. Because I know they have a lot.
I'd
of
probably
stuff
yeah,
there.
I'd probably geek the fuck out being
Oh,
able
yeah,
to see
dude.
one of these in
For sure.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of my definitely. He's definitely in my top 5 of favorite painters. You know, and what's funny is like he was largely ignored by the fine art world just because of the commercial nature of his work.
Yeah.
like it was a not acknowledged thing. Like
So
if
he
you're
was
not part of that
successful.
fine art group, if you do art commercially, I think they at the time probably still. You know,
Yeah.
they just deem that as like a lower quality.
Yeah,
artist
like
or something.
his largest sales was Kirk Hammett for $1 million.
Yeah.
And then that what was it, 4.5 million?
Yeah.
Which was
The
done by the
Egyptian Queen
Heritage
one.
Auction House, which I was saying is does largely in fucking big comic book trades, you
Yeah,
know?
and the thing is, he is easily one of the most influential artists of the 20th century.
Yeah.
Century, especially in like commercial art and illustration. For
Yeah,
sure.
everything like Magic cards and role playing games and D&D, like all of those artists like probably pull so much from what he laid down.
Oh,
you know?
for sure. Yeah. Everybody wants to be Frank Frazetta. Like, I'd love to just be able
Who
to
wouldn't?
focus on a painting and just get it out and
Yeah.
do it in like a night, and then just be dead on the couch
Yeah.
for 2 days. I would love that.
And
shit.
then sell it for 5.4 million.
Well,
And
not
then have
even
someone
that,
write a
but
story
just
about it.
to have that skill set,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
where like you're so good with anatomy and stuff like that, and like that you can just whip something like that out. Like,
Dude, it would have been awesome to be like 18 and work as an assistant to some like crazy pro artist at the time, like just
Right.
taking you under your wing and just be like, oh, ink that anatomy for me. All right, cool, yeah. Oh, do me a favor, ink in that background, you know? Would have been awesome.
yeah,
And the next day, go get me a coffee.
Yeah.
yeah, I'd do it.
I would do that now. 18. Do that at 30 something. Whatever I am. I don't even
But yeah,
know.
we should plan a
32.
trip down there. I think they just had an Instagram post the other day of when they're open. And I think July 3rd they put it up on their Instagram. Thursdays through Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. are
Nice.
the hours of
Let's do
the
it.
Frazetta Museum. If anybody wants to go check that out, and if you're nearby, I would really suggest you do that. We're definitely going to do that at some point this summer.
We're going to kidnap Reggie.
Yeah, we're just going to go.
What do you mean?
You don't need to
You're like,
kidnap him. Like
Hey, Reggie,
he wants
we're
to
gonna
go.
go for some chicken nuggets. Don't you want a sandwich with just lettuce and tomato on it and cheese?
He doesn't want lettuce.
Okay,
He
would you
says he's
like
a
some
vegetarian, but he's not a vegetarian. He's a guy who doesn't eat meat.
Yeah,
he doesn't eat
that's more accurate.
He doesn't eat vegetables either. Like it's potatoes, cheese, bread.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
All the staples of the important vegetarian diet.
I'm pretty sure I saw someone make a sandwich the other day. Somehow they used toasted mozzarella sticks, and I thought of you
That's pretty.
as bread.
That's pretty awesome. I mean,
That
it's probably
sounds
not
pretty
great
good.
for you, but
Sounds pretty good.
Dude,
Doing like 3 of them in a hot dog bun or something.
Could
I
you
have
imagine just putting that in a George Foreman grill and just toasting it like
instead of a
panini?
hot dog, a mozzarella stick in a bun, and some marinara right on top. Pretend it's a hot dog. I haven't eaten much today.
Oh, so you're drunk already?
Oh, I'm hammered.
Good.
How much have you drank?
So I think that back to what you're
3,
saying. I think
4,
it's,
I don't know.
It's interesting that the fine art market doesn't keep their eye on these industries. You know
yeah,
what
they
I mean?
don't
Like,
respect commercial illustration at all.
Yeah, like comics and the illustration market have a good way of really cultivating talent and like pushing people, but it's like they don't ever really get recognized until they. Try
Yeah,
to, like,
even if they have
shift
like an
markets
insane
and
amount of
stuff.
skill, like Frank Frazetta,
Yeah.
for instance, or like even like Boris Vallejo, any of those guys,
Yeah.
like they're not recognized as fine artists. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, they are to a degree, but not like to the point where they'll sell a painting for $20 fucking million
Yeah.
or something like that.
Or
Sadly.
the
Yeah.
textbooks are going to be like, oh, let's talk about commercial
Yeah.
illustration in the 1970s.
Let's ignore one
right
of the
now.
most productive areas of like realism, like high. I would call it highbrow art, personally. Me, like, because I just love that shit so much. Like like fantasy art as a genre is completely overlooked. Because like
Completely.
it's
Yeah, 'cause
imaginative, it's realistic, it's
Yeah.
all the things that you would hope for in a painting.
I don't get it either because it's one of the more lucrative art careers you can choose.
Yeah.
But they don't really push it in art school.
No.
It's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense.
Well, I think that depends on the art school you go to as well. Like, if you're trying to take like a fine arts program, I would imagine that they kind of shun that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They just look at commercial art as like not fine art. It's not fine enough.
Do you see
Not
this blue
good
canvas?
enough.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Do you see this red square in the middle of this?
But then
I
it's
mean,
like,
I feel like there's a reason that they use the term fine.
It's fine.
It's okay.
it's all gimmick though. It's like all
But
like
fine to me is like somebody going.
sell me a
"That's
gimmick
okay."
and I'll give you an obscene amount of money for it.
Have you
kind of
ever
thing.
seen Adam Ruined Everything about the fine art world?
yes.
No, but I
It's
need to
worth
check that out.
watching.
But to
I'm
me,
sure it is.
the term fine was always just like a shrug and a good enough.
It's like it's fine. You taped a banana to a wall.
yeah. So to call it
fine.
fine art, it's
You
like
completed the project. You get the letter grade.
good enough art.
Well, hopefully that world just perishes in the flames of COVID-19 and we never have to deal with that shit again.
I don't know. The Renaissance time, the plague took out a lot of artists.
Yeah, it was probably way worse back then. That'd be a good comparison episode to do if we just compare
Oh my God.
the bubonic plague to the COVID-19.
Well,
plague.
the last episode we did, that's how they think she died.
Oh yeah,
So
Artemisia was the last
Yeah.
one we did before this.
also, I heard a rumor that supposedly somebody in China currently has the bubonic plague.
Which someone in Texas had that years ago.
Yeah,
I heard there's like 10 cases in the States a year. So
Yeah.
it's not like
So-
fucking unheard of. But
That's
we're
some weird
we're-
shit. Like, how does that fucking happen, dude?
It just
Appar-
randomly pops up and then disappears.
this medieval
again.
disease just shows up and
people
I
are
think it
eating
has
weird
to do
animals.
with the rat population increasing depending on how hot or damp it is in certain areas, and that bacteria lives in their guts, and fleas feed on that, and then they pass it on to us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what is
That's
it that
disgusting.
What is it you're
Yeah.
convinced I'm gonna get?
That's scurvy.
Scurvy.
Just eat an orange.
For some reason, I kept thinking the word SARS, but I guess it's scurvy
Different.
Close enough.
because the only fruit I consume is in my beer.
It's true.
So-
So just drink some sours and shandies, and you'll be fine.
All right.
Sours and
Kolsch.
candies.
I mean this.
Drink a Kolsch.
I mean this one had some cherries. This one had some blueberries. I'm drinking them both. I mean
Citrus. You need citrus.
this one I don't
You
know.
need to
and
eat
this one's
actual fruits and
unlabeled
vegetables,
and
Bam.
some cherries.
Chicken wings are not a vegetable.
Dude, on a
Celery.
side note, we should all cheers for the fact that Christina drank an entire beer during this podcast.
I'm checking into AA tomorrow.
You're drawing,
congratulations.
drawing too much of attention. She's embarrassed now.
An entire North Brewery beer at that. Go check them out. 110 Washington Ave, Endicott, New York.
She likes them cherry sours.
It's delicious.
So on that note, should we wrap this up?
Any
Yeah.
closing
We got an
thoughts?
episode?
Any closing thoughts, Bam?
Oh,
You
what
were
was the
one
thing
that
from
was-
last season? Smoke, drink, or do drugs with? I would
Oh,
definitely do
Frank.
all those with Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, Frank was that. I would.
But he's so nice that I feel like drinking a nice iced tea in the backyard.
Well, yeah, that too would be fucking awesome. Like anything.
I don't feel like he'd be interested in those things. So
But
Just
in the
shaking his
70s,
hand would
I
be
feel
fucking
like
awesome.
dropping acid with him would be fun.
right, but I don't think he was into that. I feel like he was in his own little world. Like you said, he was a family man and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Let's just drink a nice iced tea together. That's what I would choose.
Sweet tea.
That's nice.
I'd be like,
sweet
dude,
tea.
can I put your paints on your palette?
And that's the thing, man. It's just like, you know,
see how this happens.
you watch some of these like convention interviews, and like a lot of the guys in the fantasy art world, like you can kind of like, oh, you are in the fantasy art world, aren't
Yeah.
you? You know, but with Frank, it's like just like an Italian guy from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Just kind of guy. Yeah.
I did this because I was old enough to do it, and then
Yeah.
I kept doing it.
I want to make some pizzas.
Basically.
I'm gonna roll out some cannoli.
Cannoli. That was my breakfast today.
Yeah, I think he's easily
You
one
had breakfast?
I think he's easily one of the best artists of our time, you know?
Yeah.
For the time that we've
For
been
sure.
alive, for sure.
Easily.
And it sucks that he's overlooked so much by the fine art world. But yeah. fuck him.
So if you've never heard of Frank Frazetta, go home, do your homework. He's awesome. Go watch-
yourself.
Go home.
Worship Kram. We'll play to the sun.
Yeah, go watch Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer like 30 fucking times.
Drink a few beers.
Fire and Ice. Go check out Fire and Ice.
Drink a few beers. Eat some chicken wings. Don't get scurvy like me, and call it a night.
Well, on that note, guys,
Cheers.
we'll see you next week.
I want to pee so bad.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I'm confused, don't wanna be confused.
Pee with it open.